Today, we're diving deep into the sources around a really extraordinary figure, David Goggins.
That's right.
We're talking about a man who went from, well, an overweight exterminator to a Navy SEAL, an ultra-endurance athlete, and just a living legend of mental toughness. It's all laid out in his book, Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah, and our mission today really is to try and unpack how someone can actually engineer such a radical transformation, pushing so far beyond what most people think is possible. And maybe more importantly, see what insights, what tangible things we can pull from his, frankly, brutal journey that, we might apply in our own lives.
It's an incredible story. The sources, they paint a pretty stark picture of his beginnings, don't they? Almost brutal.
Absolutely.
Goggins describes his childhood basically as hell, just dominated by fear, violence.
Yeah.
By his early 20s, you picture this guy almost completely defeated his ritual, numbing pain with junk food, getting up to 300 pounds, working a dead-end night job, spraying cockroaches, just haunted.
All right, just sort of existing in this cycle of pain and escape until that one moment.
That pivotal moment, yeah, looking in the mirror one night and just deciding, no more. No more victim. He chose to, what did he call it? Callous his mind.
Exactly. Callous his mind through suffering. Like how hands get tough with hard work, with friction.
And this wasn't just some catchy phrase, was it? It was literal for him.
Oh, absolutely. Not just a metaphor. It was a deliberate psychological shift. He actively sought out discomfort, pain even. Not as punishment, though,
Right.
but as a forge, a way to build that mental fortitude, to withstand things that would make almost anyone else quit. That decision was the bedrock for everything else.
Everything that followed.
Yeah, it wasn't about a quick fix. It was about deliberately toughening his whole spirit.
Yeah.
And you see it almost right away. He lost, what, over 100 pounds?
In just 3 months. It's staggering.
Just to qualify for Navy SEAL training, which is
Right.
a whole other story.
And it's in that training, particularly those infamous Hell Weeks, that you really see this calloused mind in action. The sources detail repeated failures. He did Hell Week 3 times.
3 times. It's unbelievable.
Yet he just refused to be broken. We hear about broken bones, running on fractured legs, passing out mid-run,
And always coming back.
always coming back for more. It really drives home that he wasn't born this way. He became strong through this deliberate, almost obsessive embrace of suffering. He lived that mantra, can't hurt me.
He truly embodied it. But, that raises the question for people listening. That level of intensity feels maybe unattainable. How does Goggins bridge that?
Yeah, how do we connect his extreme path to our, daily lives?
Well, he offers principles, right, and tools. One core idea is his 40% rule.
Ah, yes, the 40% rule.
Goggins basically believes that when your mind and body are screaming, stop, when you think you're absolutely tapped out, you're really only at about 30% of your actual potential.
Only 40%.
Yeah. So pain, for him, it isn't a stop sign. It's a training ground.
Yeah.
It's a signal that you can push further. It's about reframing your perception of limits.
That's a huge mental shift. Comfort is the enemy, essentially.
Pretty much. And tied to that, he famously dismisses motivation. Calls it crap, I think.
Right. He argues discipline is everything.
Exactly. Motivation fades. It's unreliable. Discipline is doing the things you hate doing, but doing them like you love them. That's where growth happens. That's how you take control.
So it's not just philosophy. He gives actual methods.
He does. Tangible things. Like the accountability mirror.
Tell us about that.
He literally talks to himself in the mirror every day. But it's not affirmations. It's brutal honesty. No filters.
Wow.
It's about facing the raw truth, stripping away the excuses, the comforting lies. He believes real growth starts right there, in that uncomfortable self-confrontation.
That's incredibly direct. And then there's the cookie jar. Sounds a bit gentler.
Well, the name is, maybe. But the concept is pure Goggins. He keeps this mental inventory, this cookie jar, filled with every past victory, every hardship he overcame, every time he pushed through pain and succeeded. So when things get really tough, when the current pain feels overwhelming, he mentally reaches in, grabs a cookie, a memory of a past success, and reminds himself.
You've done worse.
Exactly. You got through that. You can
Yeah.
get through this. It's not dwelling on the past. It's using it as fuel. A strategic psychological tool to prove his capability to himself right when he needs it.
So pulling these threads together, Goggins' message, his book, Can't Hurt Me, it's not really meant to be a warm, fuzzy inspiration, is it?
Not in the traditional sense,
Wow.
no. He explicitly says it's meant to confront you.
Confront you. Expose your excuses.
Yeah, and show you, unequivocally, that most of the limitations we perceive are actually self-imposed barriers.
Hmm.
Which really brings us to the final, maybe most important question for you listening right now. If you could actually embrace some intentional discomfort, maybe not a whole week level, but some.
Yeah.
If you could learn to outwork your doubts, stay resilient when things get tough, what perceived limits in your life might start to crumble?
What could you shatter?
Exactly. Just consider the raw power in those 3 words. Can't hurt me.